Well, viewers, keep looking out for much more content on Karnataka over the next weeks. But for the moment, viewers, look at your screens. Look at those pictures. A whole session of Parliament washed out as Rahul Gandhi led a coordinated attack along with the opposition to target Modi, the Prime Minister, and link him to Gautam Adani. The trigger for all this disruption and drama was a report published by a bunch of obscure analysts banded together under the name of Hindenburg. Viewers, they forgot in their zeal to take Hindenburg's findings seriously that this entire group was under investigation in the United States itself. Hindenburg claimed that Adani was manipulating the markets in India and enriching himself. The accusations triggered a slide in Adani's stocks and an erosion of public wealth. Some of those stocks rebounded. But viewers, the Congress jumped on this, seeing it as a confirmation of the claims made by Hindenburg. So it saw the slide in stocks, viewers, as a confirmation that Hindenburg's report was accurate. And therefore, after that, there was no looking back. And at every step of the way, the opposition, particularly Rahul Gandhi, accused the government of not investigating the claims made by Hindenburg because the Prime Minister was allegedly Adani's benefactor-in-chief. Viewers, at various points, the government kept saying, even on the floor of the House, that these claims were patently false. The Supreme Court even ordered for the setting up of a committee to look into the claims of the Hindenburg report. In fact, viewers, this committee has a mandate. And that mandate covers 5 basic areas, including talk of manipulation of stocks and also looking into why the regulators perhaps could not catch this. So the scope is wide, and the inquiry came after a case was filed in the Supreme Court by a member of the Congress party. Ordinarily, that should have sufficed, but the opposition insisted on a JPC. Now, let me be specific here. The Congress and some other parties, though others, including the NCP's chief, Sharad Pawar, and of course, the TMC said that the JPC was a waste of time. They also insisted on a debate on the entire Adani issue and kept disrupting the House to arm twist the government into accepting their demands. The disruptions have been so great that Parliament barely functioned all through the budget session. Crores of taxpayer money has been wasted over the last month and a half. But more on that later. Now, viewers, why am I telling you all of this? Because in a major statement to a news channel, NDTV, Sharad Pawar has broken ranks with the opposition, saying that it appeared to him that the Hindenburg claims were part of a targeted attack on Adani and that the opposition gave, in his words, out of proportion importance to the issue. Not just this, Pawar said that the opposition should understand that by raising such a ruckus, the cost is borne by the country's economy. Now let me read out what he said. Viewers, this is Sharad Pawar to NDTV on the Adani-Hindenburg report. He says, such statements like Hindenburg report on Adani have been given earlier too. This time, out of proportion, importance was given to the issue. We had never heard of these people who gave the statement. Obviously, he's talking about Hindenburg here, viewers. When they raise issues that cause a ruckus, cost is borne by the country's economy. They here refers to the opposition, his own colleagues, viewers, in opposition. We cannot disregard these things. It seems this was targeted. An individual industrial group of the country was targeted. That is what it seems. If they have done anything wrong, there should be an inquiry, of course, but this appeared to Mr. Pawar as a targeted machination, viewers. And he has said this for the first time in public. Viewers, remember just a few days back, Sharad Pawar had also ticked off Rahul Gandhi on speaking loosely about Veer Savarkar, saying that what he says about Savarkar will upset a large number of Maharashtrians and others who hold Mr. Savarkar in reverence. Viewers, let me run you through the cost you had to bear, the taxpayer of this country had to bear, as legislators from the opposition, propped up by an ecosystem of Lutyens, hacks and analysts, didn't allow the houses to function. Average business hours, viewers, 6 a day. Cost to run Parliament is 2,50,000 a minute. And that's a hell of a cost. But Parliament worked between March 13th and April 5th, a significant period of time, for just 570 minutes, viewers. 570 minutes. Not even 10 hours. The time that was wasted was 4,470 minutes, viewers. Total loss to the exchequer is 111 crores, a whopping 111 crores. Where did we get these details from? PRS India, viewers, put this out. And in fact, viewers, let me tell you that this data brings tears to one's eyes. And it does so because it needn't have come to this. We needn't have funded this absolute sheer B-mindedness, viewers. Now, given that Pawar has accused the Congress and his other colleagues in the opposition of a gross overreach, the question is, overreaction rather, the question is whether the opposition's Adani attack has been exposed as motivated, as one, perhaps viewers, even, and I'm saying it with some deliberation, done at the behest of individuals like Soros that delight in creating chaos. Now, let me remind you, viewers, of what the opposition had said. There was Rahul Gandhi. Foreign policy aimed at making Adani richer. PM and Adani travel around the world together, he said. And he also talked about the fact that Parliament was not being allowed to function by the BJP, if you please, because they didn't want to debate on Mr. Adani and the Prime Minister's alleged ties. Mallikarjun Kharge, the Congress president, Modi government not allowing Parliament to function. Opposition is united on demanding a JPC. This is a bit of an exaggeration, viewers, because there were cracks in the opposition on the question of the JPC. But nonetheless, Dola Sen, TMC MP, said SBI and LIC face losses, but Adani is saved. Yes, viewers, it was a hit job. And because it was hyped out of proportion, investors lost their nerve. And we all know what happens. There's a run on the market when investors lose their nerve. Pawar said that this was an out of proportion reaction to something that has happened earlier. These reports have come out earlier. That the opposition could have been a little more responsible, a little more reserved, a little more driven by perspective. Manish Tiwari said, let Joint Parliament Committee JPC analyze the Adani case. There were several other people, viewers. I've only taken the names of those that actually have some influence. Specifically, I want to play out Rahul Gandhi's reactions. Listen as he used the Hindenburg report to draw a link between Adani and Modi. Listen to this.
आइडिया ये है कि जो मैंने भाषण कुछ दिन पहले पार्लियामेंट हाउस में दिया अदानी जी के बारे में और जो नरेंद्र मोदी जी और अदानी जी का रिश्ता है उसके बारे में मैंने सवाल पूछे। उस भाषण को पार्लियामेंट हाउस में पूरा एक्सपंज कर दिया गया। ये पूरा मामला डिस्ट्रैक्ट करने का मामला है। सरकार और प्रधानमंत्री जो अदानी जी का मुद्दा है उससे डरे हुए हैं और इसीलिए उन्होंने ये पूरा तमाशा प्रिपेयर किया है।
What, of course, was the tamasha, viewers, that Rahul Gandhi is referring to? The fact that the BJP wanted him to apologize for making statements that the BJP believed had an anti-India quality about them overseas. And he says that, look, they just don't want to take these questions on Adani. And viewers, of course, we can debate on whether the government should have better managed the floor, etc., etc. But we all know that once the opposition is hell-bent, and we've seen it even when the UPA was in power, if the opposition is hell-bent on disrupting, there's little that the Treasury benches can actually do to reach across the aisle, except for perhaps reason and put out their point of view. But viewers, what struck us all, you and I that watch Times Now, was the fact that individuals like George Soros also suddenly swooped in on this Hindenburg report and began to talk about it and said that this is will sound the death knell for Mr. Modi because the public will begin to ask him questions. Now, Sharad Pawar, viewers, has come out and said such statements were given by other individuals too. The Hindenburg statement he's referring to. And there was a ruckus in Parliament for a few days, but this time out of proportion importance was given to the issues. The issues that were kept, who kept them. We never heard of these people who gave the statement. What is the background? When they raise issues that cause a ruckus across the country, the cost is borne by the country's economy. We cannot disregard these things. It seems it was all targeted. An individual industrial group of the country was targeted. And that is what it seems. If they've done anything wrong, there should be an inquiry, which, viewers, there is. The matter should have been left at that, but it suddenly became too much. And look, we've had to forego from our precious savings 111 crores, viewers. It's a lot of money. A lot of money. Now, viewers, listen to what George Soros said, for example. And there's such a echoing of the sentiment here with what the opposition also said. Many people think that George Soros, viewers, and there is, of course, a trail out there that he's the funder-in-chief of the ecosystem. But watch what he said.
It's a democracy, but its leader, Narendra Modi, is no Democrat. Inciting violence against Muslims was an important factor in his meteoric rise. India is a member of the Quad, which also includes Australia, the US, and Japan. But it buys a lot of Russian oil at a steep discount. Modi and business tycoon Adani are close allies. Modi is silent on the subject, but he will have to answer questions from foreign investors and in Parliament. This will significantly weaken Modi's stranglehold on India's federal government and open the door to push for much-needed institutional reforms.
Viewers, the Congress party now on the defensive, and it has gone out there to respond. Congress puts up a brave face. It says NCP may have its view. 19 opposition parties are convinced PM-linked Adani Group issue is real. All, including NCP, are united together in saving the Constitution. Will save democracy from BJP assaults. It's Jairam Ramesh of the Congress party, its principal media communicator. Let's open this up, viewers. I don't want to stand between you and the views of some of our panelists tonight. Let me bring in, first things first, Sanju Verma of the Bhartiya Janata Party, the national spokesperson. Now, Sanju Verma, of course, you will see this as a vindication. But why should we not believe that Sharad Pawar, perhaps, as soon someone might come out and say, and I'm just preempting them, is deciding that he wants to align with you in Maharashtra at a later stage? Look at his recent statements, look at his nephew's statements. They all seem to be backing the BJP's narrative, and perhaps we are seeing some sort of a new alignment in Maharashtra, etc., etc. And since when should we trust Sharad Pawar? Because, you know, he has had his own skeletons that sometimes the BJP itself has sort of referred to, and you know, the general. So why should we not take this as some sort of a staged reaction? And then someone will also say that, look, on which channel this has been said. This has been said on a channel that is now owned by Mr. Adani, so what do you expect? And, you know, the usual. I don't want to go too deep because I don't want to give the opposition too many ideas and the ecosystem too many ideas, but I'm sure all of this is being cooked up right now. So let me play devil's advocate and ask you this question. Why should we believe what comes out on NDTV on Adani anymore? Even if it comes out of Pawar's mouth.
Rahul, you know, you've asked a very valid question, and I just have this to say. You know, let's look at the entire Adani case by just looking at the hard facts, because you always say your show is about the hard facts which you don't wish to compromise on. And I have been on a couple of debates on your channel and on zillion other debates on other channels, and I've always maintained this. What are the three major, issues that the opposition wants that a JPC should probe as far as Adani goes? A, they say stock market manipulation. B, they have said, irregular accounting practices. And three, the third one, they have said large amounts of unsustainable debt. I have said this in the past and I repeat. You look at the history of Indian stock markets. By and large, any stock market manipulation is basically investigated by the SEBI, Securities and Exchange Board of India. So I don't understand why the Adani case should be any different. As far as accounting irregularities are concerned, assuming that there are a few, this matter should be taken up by the ROC, the Registrar of Company Affairs, and see whether company law, based on Company Law 1956 and the amended Company Law of 2013 has indeed been breached. The most important thing, this is what happens when everybody suddenly becomes a financial expert, an investment banker and a stock market expert at the drop of a hat. The most compelling argument, and compelling, I say, from the opposition standpoint, I think it's a whole lot of hogwash. The most compelling argument given by the opposition is that Adani Group made a huge amount of investments through various shell companies. Now you need to read Rule 17 of Overseas Investment Norms, which India adheres to. And it clearly says that shell companies are legal as long as those shell companies are not used to launder money. So the opposition, I need to ask them, do you have any substantive evidence that the shell companies of Adani were actually used to launder money? If indeed that is the case, please provide proof rather than making a generic statement that, oh, Adani has 20 shell companies, so Adani is doing something illegal, because every Indian corporate, from Reliance Industries to Wipro to Infosys to the Tatas, they all have shell companies because that is the nature of the beast. The most important point is this. I remember in February 2023, and just indulge me for 30 seconds, very recently, barely a month back, Credit Suisse, the Zurich-based investment banker, they said we assign zero value to Adani's bonds and we will not accept Adani's bonds as collateral for lending any money to them. And I remember, you have to go to the timeline of every single Congress leader. They quoted the Credit Suisse report to say, look, a famous Zurich-based investment banker has assigned zero value to Adani's bonds, which clearly shows that Adani is into something which is not above board. And what happens? On the 19th of March 2023, I'm giving you dates so that you can corroborate. On the 19th of March 2023, Credit Suisse is sold for peanuts. Credit Suisse being sold for a measly $3.2 billion
Sure.
to UBS is peanuts, and Credit Suisse was the one company which the entire Brahman quoted to justify that why Adani is up to nefarious financial dealings. I want to ask them, since you quoted Credit Suisse, and Credit Suisse's today, stock price value is less than $1. It has been sold for $3.2 billion. $3.2 billion was something that Credit Suisse used to trade in the forex markets in a single day.
Okay.
So basically they've sold themselves for peanuts. Now what do you have to say? Do you feel that there is something more to it than meets the eye? No. You say, it was a general banking crisis. What about the fact, Rahul, 10 seconds. Be it the Silicon Valley Bank, be it Signature Bank, be it Western Union Bank, be it
Okay.
JP Morgan, Bank of America, Morgan Stanley, they all lost more than $20 billion in 48 hours. Did you see anybody from the US or the European Union saying, oh, there is something more to it than meets the eye? It was a normal case of one bank going down and everybody following suit because we are globally coupled. But the Congress and the entire opposition chose to pounce on Adani without
Sharad Pawar-
substantive proof.
Okay, Sharad Pawar seems to have said that this was a targeted hit job and that this entire issue was blown out of proportion. This time, out of proportion importance was given to the issues that were kept, who kept them. We had never heard of these people who gave the statement, etc., etc. Viewers, you've heard that. You can read the statement, it's right there. And I want to bring in Advocate Faizan Mirza Saab, who joins us from the NCP. Mirza Saab, Pawar Saab, अडानी ओन्ड एनडीटीवी पर बैठते हैं तो वो और क्या कहेंगे सर? वो तो वही बोलेंगे कि अडानी जी को हम क्लीन चिट ही तो देंगे, और क्या देंगे वो? तो ये अब बोला जाएगा, संजय झा जी और जो दूसरे कमेंटेटर्स हैं ये बोलेंगे. अभी तो थोड़ी तमीज से कांग्रेस का रिएक्शन आया है, थोड़ा रिस्ट्रेन टाइप रिएक्शन है, थोड़े स्टन्ड हैं, तो उन्होंने अपना पीज एंड क्यूज जैसे कहते हैं अंग्रेजी में माइंड करके ये रिएक्शन दिया है. मगर आप धीरे धीरे देखिए, पूरा इकोसिस्टम कहेगा तो अब तो हो गया एनडीटीवी का, तो पूरा डीएनए बदल गया, ये हो गया, दामोदर दास टीवी बन गया, ये सब बोलेंगे अभी. तो मैं आपसे पूछना चाहता हूं कि क्या शरद पवार जी एनडीटीवी पे अडानी ओन चैनल पे बैठ के अब अडानी जी के गुण गा रहे थे? सीधा सवाल है,
नहीं.
बहुत बुनियादी तौर पे मैं पूछना चाह रहा हूं आपसे.
ये सवाल नहीं है, लो पेश है, मुझे कोई आरोप नहीं लगे. फर्स्ट. सेकंड बात ये है कि अपोजिशन आज भी यूनाइट है और कल भी यूनाइट रहेगा. ये स्टेटमेंट जो दिया है ये किसी को डिफेंड करने के लिए नहीं दिया गया. इस स्टेटमेंट में उन्होंने क्लियरली ये कहा है कि दिस इशू हैज गॉट टू मच इंपॉर्टेंस. पार्लियामेंट में कॉमन मैन के मुद्दे को इंपॉर्टेंस देना चाहिए था, जब जाके पार्लियामेंट का सही काम देश के अंदर होता है. और इस इशू को उठाकर कॉमन मैन को अदानी और अंबानी वाले इश्यूज से कुछ ही नहीं कर रहे हैं ना साहब. कॉमन मैन का जो इशू है वो यही है कि व्हाई आर द प्राइसेस ऑफ सिलेंडर राइजिंग. उसका जवाब हमको चाहिए. हमको कॉमन मैन का बात पार्लियामेंट में करना है ना. हमको ये बात से पार्लियामेंट में ये बात करके हम कॉमन मैन को हम क्या दे सकते हैं? अदानी जी की बात करके हम लोग क्या दे सकते हैं? और इस विषय में अदानी ग्रुप की भी एक गलती है कि अगर वो गलत नहीं था तो उन्होंने एक प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस लेके इसको क्लैरिफाई करना चाहिए. उन्होंने इसको ना क्लैरिफाई ना करते हुए भ्रम को फैलने दिया. अगर बोला जाता है जो वो भ्रम था, तो भ्रम को फैलाने में उन लोगों का भी तो हाथ है ना. भ्रम को फैलाने में उन लोगों का भी हाथ है. अब यहाँ पर
पवार साहब ने तो ये नहीं कहा है. पवार साहब ने तो सीधी बात यही कही है दैट ऑपोजिशन को समझना चाहिए था. When they raise issues that cause a ruckus across the country, the cost is borne by the country's economy. We cannot disregard these things. उन्होंने तो अभी कोई भ्रम की बात नहीं कही के बाद में भी. Anyhow, आप ये कह रहे हैं कि ये इशू को नहीं, इसके
अपोजिशन को ही
समझ गया. मिर्जा साहब, what you're saying really is that the issue was blown out of proportion. Mr. Pawar is right that the issues that matter to the people should have been raised and not this one. But I thought that Mr. Rahul Gandhi was raising this issue. because it is about robbing the people.
देखिए वो
that Peter was paying Paul.
मैं एक बात बताता हूँ, हर एक का अपना अपना नजरिया अलग होता है।
अच्छा ठीक है, संजय झा, your ally says,
उनका नजरिया अलग है,
your ally is sticking to their guns, saying that Sharad Pawar's nazariya is different, and he said you should have raised issues that matter to the public. Rahul Gandhi had made this the super important issue, the only important issue. He's taking it to the polls, he's taking it to 2024. I'm asking you, sir, is Mr. Pawar today suborned in some way? I'm asking you. Or by saying this, he has completely deflated Rahul Gandhi's focus and the opposition's focus, saying that you guys wasted the nation's money by doing this.
Rahul, if I'm not interrupted, I would like to give a quick response to your question and what somebody else spoke earlier. You know, very selective cherry picking, quoting Credit Suisse, which, by the way,
forget
even
that,
if
sir,
it had
just answer the question.
Problems,
Sanjay Jha, forget that.
You know, Rahul, it's not fair, you know, that you allow the BJP spokesperson an uninterrupted schedule.
I don't
without
mind that,
directing her how to
answer the question
let
on
me do my
Pawar.
own part here.
Okay, fine.
You know, listen, give
go
me
ahead,
my freedom of expression.
Go ahead. No, fair enough, sir. Go ahead. Take your time. Go ahead.
Yeah. So Rahul, in simple terms,
yeah.
Credit Suisse, whether it goes bankrupt or whether it's sold, it doesn't matter. It had a view on the entire assets of the Adani Group. And by the way, why are we forgetting Standard Chartered? Why are we forgetting Citibank that actually considered the Adani bonds as junk bonds? So let's not do any selective cherry picking here. The larger point, Rahul Gandhi and the opposition, and I'm assuming that includes Mr. Sharad Pawar, understand that no businessman can actually grow in any part of the world in terms of his net wealth from 4.5 billion in 2014 to 150 billion in 2022. And by the way, in 2021, it was 76 billion. In 2020, he was 11 billion. And in 2 years, he became 150 billion. Now, the fundamental issues that the Congress is asking is, by the way, who owns the tax havens? Number two, how did he get so many contracts for airports, the Mumbai airport, etc., where many assets have gone to Mr. Adani when entities were tax raided? I mean, it's been so brazen and blatant. Whether you're a supporter of Mr. Modi or not, everyone should be worried in this country. This is plutocracy. This is crony capitalism.
Okay, you haven't still answered the question.
I want to quickly come in.
Now, at least,
Rahul,
Sanju, 1 minute. Sanju Aman, please, 1 second. There are other people also. Now, Sanjay Jha, you still haven't answered the question. I've heard all of this. Mr. Pawar has come out and said the following things. The question is that people you are targeting, if they have done something wrong, misused their powers, then in a democracy you have a right to speak against them 100%. But to attack without anything meaningful, this I cannot understand. Today, Ambani has contributed in the petrochemical sector. Does the country not need it? In the field of electricity, Adani has contributed. Does country not need electricity? These are people who take up such responsibility and work in the name of the country. If they have done wrong, you attack. But they've created this infrastructure to criticize them does not feel right to me. I mean, he has gone to such lengths. And Sanjay Jha, you are giving me a debate. No, I mean, you're giving me a response on some...
answer your question.
No, I can't wait for 10 minutes. I have other stuff also to do. Get to the point. Doctor, 1 second. Dr. Ranganathan, let me come. No, let me, please, don't, you know, this kind of filibustering that happens night after night, Sanjay Jha, with you, it's tiring. You know, 1 second, it's tiring to the viewer. They all laugh. They all say that, listen, the guy never gets to the point. 1 minute. Dr. Ranganathan, let me get you into it.
I don't agree with what Mr. Sharad Pawar has said.
Sanjay, please.
Okay, fine, you don't agree. Now, why don't you agree? That means the Congress party doesn't agree. That means the Congress party now thinks that Mr. Pawar also is singing Modi's tune. I mean...
I can't comment on any political motives here because I don't know.
Okay, so then he's speaking the truth and Mr. Rahul Gandhi then obviously is not. It can't be both, right?
No, 1 minute. No politician in this country has some prerogative to comment on corruption.
I just need to comment for 20 seconds.
Not even,
please.
no, 1 second, Sanju Verma, please. I don't have so much time. I have two very important guests also right after this. 1 second, Dr. Ranganathan. Yes, please. Dr. Ranganathan.
Good evening, Rahul, and good evening to my fellow panelists. I've been waiting for about half an hour, and Dr. Raman as well. So please, can I request my fellow panelists to give me a courtesy of a couple of minutes? I have 4 issues, and I'll deal with each of them very briefly. Number 1, to me, this kind of throwing spanner in the works by Mr. Sharad Pawar reminds me, maybe perhaps he was playing violin on the deck of the Titanic, and he looked around and he saw Rahul Gandhi was the captain of the ship. And he then realized that he is actually looking for an iceberg to collide the Titanic with, and he's jumped off. I think that's the only, and of course you can't trust Mr. Pawar. After all, he was the one who invented a full-fledged bomb blast. So yes, so this is a completely political decision. I'm shocked why the Congress sympathizers on the panel haven't yet alleged. I mean, you talked about, the political compulsions of Mr. Pawar, but, in the coming days, I'm sure the Congress will allege that there's an impending CBI raid on Mr. Pawar, and that is why he is holding this line. Be that as it may, there are three issues that the Congress needs to deal with. And let me begin with the star of the Congress, which is Rahul Gandhi. Honestly, if ever David Dhawan were to make the film International Embarrassment #1, you know who he'll cast. I mean, just today, Rahul, you've seen your namesake Rahul Gandhi tweeting about Adani being in cahoots with a Chinese national and a Chinese company and demanding an explanation, which I'm sure he would have had the JPC been there. He doesn't even realize that he's been sold short by none other than those chauthi fails like lawyers and leftists and communists. Because it is not a Chinese national, it's a Taiwanese national. Now, if a Taiwanese national is a Chinese national, then I'm afraid Rahul Shivshankar is Rahul Gandhi. So it's ridiculous the extent to which these guys are going about with their shenanigans. And number two, and this is important, if they believe that Adani is corrupt, then Adani has investments, current investments working to the tune of nearly 1 lakh crore in Congress-ruled states of Chhattisgarh and Rajasthan. Cancel those, suspend those, till the time you come out with the fact that yes, Adani is innocent. That's the basic decency of anyone who's alleging anything. It's so bizarre. And finally, I'll tell you why they are hankering for JPC, because they know the matter is in Supreme Court.
Yeah.
And the Supreme Court will deal it one way or the other, like they dealt with Rafale. Had Rafale been adjudicated by the JPC, it would always have said that Modi is guilty. Or at least we in the JPC, i.e. Congress, said Modi is guilty and hi, yo. Now they can't say the same because Rafale and all other issues were dealt with Supreme Court. So this is what their fear is, that the Supreme Court will come and say, like it has said on Rafale, on Justice Loya, on Ayodhya, on Pegasus, that Modi is innocent. That is their problem. I'm fed up with this.
You're fed up with this. The nation perhaps is also fed up with this, and they're paying a cost. Dr. Sumanth Raman, is Sharad Pawar right, or is his clean chit motivated by self-interest, political self-interest? Very quickly.
Okay, Rahul, I hope you will give me at least a minute to articulate my points.
Yes.
First of all, what Mr. Sharad Pawar thinks is not really relevant to this particular issue, because Rahul Gandhi has raised only one question repeatedly: who owns the 20,000 crore which came in through the shell companies and was invested in Adani's firms? Now, the answer to this question can be got by the government, if they want to. Within a few days, the matter would end there. I don't know the endless need for deflection, diversion and defending Mr. Adani far more than even his own corporate communications department. I would really say that, Mr. Adani is getting the world's biggest corporate communication department of the BJP.
So why doesn't Sharad Pawar see this?
His group. Okay. Now, the whole point... No, one second. What Mr. Sharad Pawar sees, he has got his political, issues to resolve. Right. That is not really relevant here. Okay. There is a question which has been raised. It's not been raised by one source. It has been raised through Hindenburg. It has also been subsequently in multiple articles. There have been issues which have come out. One is about this connection with this Chan Chung Ling. Whether he is Chinese or Taiwanese is besides the point. The point is he is not an Indian national. The second, now all of these are issues which have been raised. Yesterday or day before, there was another article which raised questions about
Sir, has a Supreme Court committee been set up, yes or no? It is looking into it.
The other bidder was also a related firm. No, I'm sorry, Rahul.
You're sorry.
Please, no, the Supreme Court is not inquiring into the source of funds for these shell companies. I'm sorry.
Viewers,
if it is not mentioned in the
look,
Supreme
viewers,
Court.
we'll all have our opinions. At the end of the day, Mr. Pawar has left the opposition red-faced. He has left Dr. Ranganathan and fellow Indians frothing and fuming, disappointed and angry and fed up. And perhaps that's going to weigh in at the end, viewers of it all. Frustrated, angry Indians who will say, well, the opposition in this case, if Mr. Pawar is to be believed, has drummed up this entire hype, which has led to very little, and perhaps, viewers, wasted precious resources. I don't know. It could be a reaction. But now we are going to focus on a very important issue, viewers, which needs national attention.